Hello, I'm Cindy with Wisconsin Voices for Recovery, and this is Speak Out on Stigma. Today we'll be hearing from Sean, a Wisconsin community member. Hey, Sean, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Good. So tell me, have you experienced stigmatizing language towards you, and what are some of the stigmatizing words and language that you have experienced?
Okay, well, yes, I have. And I guess some of the common words that I've heard a lot are paranoid, crazy, um, unmanageable or uncooperative. And I think stigma is used, it's a multifaceted kind of tool, and I think in some atmospheres or scenarios it can be weaponized, and I think that stigma can be used to kind of misinterpret an individual's either character or perspective, and how it's kind of affected me. I think is related to your next question, so I'll probably wait.
So tell me about some of the damaging physical impacts you've experienced as a result of stigma, like relationships, finances, work, housing, medical care, and or health.
Okay, so finances and work, that's an interesting category. So I was working at a nonprofit, and it was like the most valuable position I had. And it was so my kid's mom had opened up a total of five chips cases. And during one of these chips cases, I had the children. And they cited, they used stigma against me to relocate back the children back from me to the mother. But people in my network saw me become like extremely distraught by that. And because of the stigma around that, they thought that there must have been a rule I wasn't following, or there must have been something wrong with me that the children couldn't remain with the father. And so stigma is used to kind of it's the water used to float a lot of narratives, I think. And in relationships, so this is kind of an interesting personal story. It was many years ago. The mother of my children, actually, she gave me a call because she knew I was struggling, and she asked me to come out to where she lives to have a conversation about me getting better. It's about an hour drive, and I kind of felt like there was something in my life that was like behind the scenes energy that was following me, if you will. And I said, okay, I'll come and talk to you if we go for a walk while we talk. And she said, why? I'm like, well, because I believe this behind the scenes energy will manifest. So when I get there, it's again about an hour drive. We're less than half a block away from her home, and a stranger pulls up. And now she lives in a little subdivision. Everybody's familiar with each other. The stranger quickly tells her, "Oh, hi, who are you? Are you new? I haven't seen you before." And then he quickly tells three stories about individuals in the subdivision, describes like where their house is. One's addicted to methamphetamines, one's addicted to heroin, and then the other one's addicted to crack cocaine. And then he tells like these really kind of like judgmental stories, and then pulls away from his truck. And the entire time, I'm realizing like the gentleman didn't make any eye contact with me. It was probably something to like arouse the prejudice in the mind of the mother. And it was in that moment right there that she became a handler of like any false narratives in that would be like surrounding me in my life. And in that moment, after the guy left, she said, "That makes me really nervous. I don't know who that guy was. I've never seen him before. I want to go home, Sean. I think you could leave." And we didn't even get to have our conversation yet. And that's the exact behind the scenes energy that I was like, you can't really explain it before it happens. It has to be like experienced in somebody's habits and routines. And there's so much stigma around that that we haven't been able to see eye to eye since then. And there's been a lot of, um, I just so I think I'm not trying to say that like that man would have been a community-based agent. I am saying that like we have program prejudice that can be aroused very easily just by hearing gossip. And lo and behold, I came there for a conversation about like getting some help, but that gossip vicariously, kind of ruined that breakthrough before it even happened. And it's kind of hard, I think, for people to go back on that and realizing like, hey, maybe there's more to the person than I thought, because a lot of times that means that we weren't, or the stigmatized person isn't as unwell as they had imagined for so long, so then those relationship dynamics are hard to grow out of, where we're kind of dysfunctional, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for sharing that example. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Um, I would just, I would like to add that I think it's very instrumental that we start to have lesser barriers for, the people who are familiar with what it's like to cross from exile into reintegration, and to have them part of like any sort of treatment team, because they have the experience of what it's like crossing that abyss, without that element, I think the architecture of like medical systems without that element are going to allow people to fall through the cracks, where um, other individuals of the community have to sort of pick up the slack, and that becomes burdensome. Not that the work isn't honored, it's just that we should have some help.
Thank you so much, Sean, for sharing your views on stigma. And thank you to viewers for watching. Speak Out on Stigma is a forum to raise awareness about the harmful impact of stigma on those in and seeking recovery. Recovery is for everyone. Together, we can eliminate stigma. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. Thank you and have a great day.